right after Matt.
I'd love to, Les.
Les has a date with Jennifer.
Get down, Lester.
And guess who's hot under the collar?
I've got squatter's rights.
It's happening at WKRP in Cincinnati. Coming up next. Sitcom All Ye Faithful, a Christmas podcast special, where for the third time I discuss 25 Christmas sitcom episodes. Please come and listen every day up through Christmas. I'm sure we'll feature Jeannie, the Tanners, and Nell Harper, Chandler, Big Mr. Roper. It will be dynamite. We'll definitely feature a character who says dynamite.
Come on, baby, if you've ever wondered whatever became of me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, WKRP. Welcome back, Christmas fans, to day 2 of Sitcom All Ye Faithful, where I'm back again to talk more Christmas sitcoms. Today, I travel back to December 20th, 1980, to a show that I somewhat remember and to a concept that is very familiar. WKRP in Cincinnati. It's a show that I just remember being on when I was a kid. Now, the original timeline of this show is from 78 to 82. So it was, it started when I was 2 years old, and the show ended when I was, close to 5. Only 4 seasons, but 90 episodes, because they really pumped out episodes of TV shows back in the ye olden days. I couldn't tell you one memorable episode of WKRP, but I remember Venus Flytrap and Johnny Fever and Lonnie Anderson. Oh, Lonnie Anderson. I didn't know her name was Jennifer. I didn't remember it until looking it up. And I remember Gordon Jump. There were 2 things I remember him on this show. Number 1 was leading WKRP, and number 2 was, trying to sexually molest Dudley. Those are his 2 most famous things for me. Venus Flytrap, of course, Tim Reed. I remember him from this show, and later on being, wasn't he Sister's dad? He's been in a ton of things. Herb, played by Frank Bonner. That's 2 N's, very important when pronouncing his name. Wasn't he in Just the 10 of Us too? Didn't he play a priest in Just the 10 of Us? I want to say he did, and he did. And of course, Howard Hessman, for me, best known for this, and of course, for Head of the Class. Those are the people I know. There was a couple other people who worked there. Of course, Les Nessman, best known for this. The actors Richard Sanders. There's a woman, Jan Smithers, who I had a little whistle in my throat there. Okay, it's gone. For a second, I thought she was also Mr. Cartier's wife, but no, that's not. She was James Brolin's wife in real life. but she's most known for this, really. And, of course, Lonnie Anderson, who I remember from this, and then, of course, from the Academy Award-winning film Stroker Ace with Burt Reynolds. Wait, that didn't win any Academy Awards? Well, it should have. But it's and then the main guy, the star, the top billed star, Gary Sandy. I'm like, I don't know him from anything except this. But he was, I guess, quote unquote, the star. And I'm wondering, was he a star? Was he somebody before this? Like, why is he the lead? It seems like he's the head of the on-air talent. I don't know. It's been a real long time since I've seen the show. But what's funny is the show actually had a resurgence in the new WKRP in Cincinnati. That was on from 1991 to 93. It actually got 47 episodes. Les Nessman, Herb, and Arthur Carlson, the Frank Bonner, Richard Sanders, and Gordon Jump, all of them were in every single one of these episodes. Howard Hessman showed up for a few. French Stewart, yes, from Third Rock from the Sun, was on at least one of the seasons. And Michael T. Williamson, goddamn Bubba Gump, was one of the stars of the show. And Tawny Katane, fresh off of David Coverdale's Car, was also on the show. I remember it happening and being like, what the hell is this? Even at that, like, I'm at high school at this point. And it was on syndication, so it was like, that's the time. Is that like, we also got new Munsters? People are just like, let's make new versions of shows that were somewhat pretty good. But I mean, it got 40-something episodes out of it. But we're not here to talk about that version of the show. We're here to talk about today's episode, Bah Humbug. That alone should tell you what this episode is about. Yes, once again, we're getting another take on A Christmas Carol, another take on Charles Dickens and Ebenezer Scrooge. And this show wastes no time getting into it. I'm trying to think the other times we've had this. We obviously had it with Family Ties. We had it with The Odd Couple. I feel like there might have been another one in there, and I do not remember. But anyway, in this one, it's pretty straightforward. The people at the radio station aren't getting a Christmas bonus, or at least it seems like they're not getting a Christmas bonus. And they're all gearing up for the Christmas party at the radio station. Someone made cookies that weren't very good, and Johnny Fever brought in brownies that nobody wanted to touch. This is 1980, so we're getting these subtle references to weed without overtly saying anything about it. I feel like the same thing happened to Reverend Jim on Taxi when he tried brownies for the first time and it changed him. Nobody wanted to touch Johnny Fever's brownies, except, of course, Mr. Carlson, the boss. What does he do? He goes in, he grabs a brownie, and then he grabs a second brownie. Nobody stops him. Nobody says anything. They're all kind of miffed at him for not wanting to give bonuses. And he's talking about how things aren't, doing, we're not doing very well here at the radio station. We're trying to make ends meet. He goes into his office and he drafts a letter. It seems like it's going to be going to them about why they weren't getting Christmas bonuses. And I didn't realize, it seems like his mother owns the radio station and he runs it, because he keeps talking about mother's not going to like this, mother that. And because he had these pot brownies, he's very sleepy, falls asleep, wakes up, boom, sees an older version of himself who says it's him playing his grandfather, who says, I am here to tell you that you should have, you need to treat your people better. And, I'm living with this. You're going to be visited by 3 ghosts, yada, yada, yada. We got the 3 ghosts. We get Lonnie Anderson as the ghost of Christmas past. We get Tim Reed as the ghost of Christmas present. And we get Johnny Fever, Howard Hessman, as the ghost of Christmas future. So in the past, he goes back to a radio station. That was pretty funny. There was all these older people working at the station. He worked as a sales guy, and he was like, hey, he had a little wig on, darker hair, and he put on this like he was talking like a teenager, I don't know, it was like a weird affect he was putting on his voice that was funny. And they also had a errand boy, and it was Les Nessman. They made him look younger. They put a wig on him. It was pretty funny. The station manager thought it was very important to give everyone Christmas bonuses and gifts. And when Lonnie Anderson was talking to the actual Mr. Carlson, she's like, "Do you remember what happened?" He goes, "Yes, Mother fired him for doing that." So that's probably why he became cheap. But he realized that wasn't good, and he liked seeing all these people that he used to work with. But of course, they couldn't see him. He goes back. He's like, "Oh, now I'm starting to learn something, but I don't want to do this anymore." He opens the door, goes out into the hallway, and boom, there we see Venus Flytrap dressed up as Santa in a giant sleigh. And they have a little talk, and he talks about you don't have to go anywhere. We're here for Christmas present. Where this is when you see the rest of the cast kind of arguing about him being cheap and not giving them Christmas bonuses. He's trying to talk to them. They're not listening. They're not able to answer him. And then he realizes he doesn't want to be seen this way. So he wants to do something and go in to his office and write a check. I think he was planning to do it. And then all of a sudden we see this hand, and there's Johnny Fever. But he goes, "I'm not Johnny Fever. I'm the ghost of Christmas future." This was kind of weird. He goes to the future, and we see, is it Howard? The guy who was on Herb. We see Herb in this like futuristic like white room with neon WKRP, and he's talking into a machine to fake a phone call for an ad sale, and he's getting a phone call from a computer, talking to a computer, saying everything's automated now for the radio station. And I thought that's kind of interesting because there's a lot of radio stations that are just that, automated stations. And he's the only one who works here now. Everyone left to have better jobs. Jennifer runs is like at an island. Les Nessman is the Republican whip. And the other people, he said all the names. I didn't know everyone's name, but they all found better jobs. And he's like, "No, I don't want it to be this way." So he comes back, and of course, he's all giddy that he's not dreaming anymore. We don't know what he gave for a bonus, but he's all excited to give the bonus, to write the checks for everybody. And but he also wants to keep. He goes, "Mother's not going to be happy." He goes, "Hey, Johnny, can I borrow those brownies? Can I take them?" I think he's going to give them to his mom to get his mom high. And that was really it. It was a very simple episode, but I found something I wanted to run through right now. This is from MeTV, which might be the greatest television station still on the air. They put these quizzes out. This is from 2020, from December 2020. It says, "See how well you know the WKRP in Cincinnati spoof of A Christmas Carol." Now, I only watched it once. So I'm going to take a little trivia quiz and see how I do. It says, "Test your trivia with Bah Humbug." WKRP in Cincinnati is best known for its Thanksgiving episode, Turkeys Away, which, by the way, I did a turkey trot 5K with former and future guest of the show, Eric. And there was a guy there wearing a turkey drop WKRP in Cincinnati shirt. And I was like, I saw him quick. I go, "That shirt is awesome." But it says, "It was not the only holiday celebrated by the beloved rock and roll sitcom. The radio station celebrated Christmas a couple times too, and in fact, Arthur Carlson played a quote-unquote Scrooge in a spoof of the Dickens classic A Christmas Carol. Let's see if you can answer trivia about this delightfully offbeat parody." Well, Johnny Fever is the ghost of Christmas future. I already mentioned that. Correct. The ghost in which Arthur Carlson, of which relative comes to visit him? It's his grandfather. Correct. It said great-grandfather. I almost said that. Jennifer is the ghost of Christmas the ghost of Christmas past. The old reception. I know this. The old receptionist at WKRP shared her name with a famous food mascot. What was her name? Mrs. Butterworth. Correct. The old boss, Mr. Armour, is played by a familiar face for the Andy Griffith Show. Oh my God. You know this actor as who in Mayberry? Otis? No. Mayor? I'm just going to completely guess and say the mayor. Correct. That was a complete guess. There's no way I would have known that. In fact, watching the show really didn't help me with that. Who is this in the Argyle vest? There's a great shot of the young Les Nessman. Correct. I'm actually going to put this quiz into the show notes so you can look at it if you want. Take it yourself, even though I'm giving you all the answers. What present does Mr. Armour give Artie for Christmas? A pink flamingo. He says they're all the rage in Florida. So he gives a pink flamingo, yes. And Don Diamond plays a coworker named Don Bassett. He is best known for playing Crazy Cat in which 60s sitcom? Well, it wasn't Munsters. I'm going to say F Troop. Correct, because Get Smart, that didn't sound right either. That was the three options. And where is this white space? It's in WKRP. See, it says right here in the year 2006. I don't remember them saying the year. I'm going to say it, correct, but I do not remember them saying the year in the future was 2006. I like that 2006 looks like a desolate future, and that is 17 years ago. That's pretty funny. And which pop star is on this poster? Well, it's Diana, so it's got to be Diana Ross. Saw Diana. Which legendary rock band is here on the cover of their 1980 album, The Game? Well, The Game is Queen. Boom. Yeah, I could. Wow, this has nothing to do with knowing the show. It's just knowing some rock and roll. And how many questions are there? What does Les Nessman become in the future? I know that. He's the Republican whip. After Scrooge learns his lesson from the ghost, what does he do? He writes bonus checks for all his employees. Correct. I got all 13 correct. Boom. Perfect score. 2 of them were guesses. 2 of them were complete guesses. The rest were like the rest were at least, part of the episode. But 2 were like, what has this other guy been in? What's his brother's name? What the frick do I know? But this was a fun episode. It's on YouTube. I'm going to put a link to it right in the show notes. You can watch this whole episode on YouTube. It made me laugh. I enjoyed it. It was nostalgic, but not in a way, not because I remember seeing it. It just felt like a specific time in TV, and a specific time in my life being a little kid. I probably saw this more in syndication than ever on live TV. But it brings me back to a young child when Christmas was just a long day of going to many, many houses. Now it's a day of going to one house on Christmas Day and possibly going to a party this year on Christmas Eve. But that's it, I think. I think I've covered it. WKRP in Cincinnati. Killer theme song, too. I mean, the 70s had some incredible theme songs. And the 80s, too, because this is 1980. That you just don't see all the time with shows now. Even Friends has had a very memorable sitcom. But again, we're talking 30 years ago, 94 almost. That show was that old. That old. We're talking almost 30 years ago for Friends. Wild. But now we're 2 in. We are 2 episodes in. I've sent some notes out to future guests to be on the show and showing things. I've thrown an idea to my cousin Brandon. I said, I think maybe you should do this show. He agreed. He's locked in now. If he changes his mind, it's a breach of contract, and he will be hearing from my lawyer. The weird thing is he is my lawyer. I'm just kidding. He's not a lawyer. I don't know what he does. I think he teaches music, or he either teaches music, or he has to, like, I was going to come up with some kind of thing where he was court appointed to do something. I don't know. It is 10:50 at night, and I'm going to give you another little clue or a little hint behind the scenes. It's still November 30th. I've recorded the Friends episode before work this morning. I'm recording this episode late at night. But for you, it's December 2nd, or it's at least December 2nd. The episode came out for you on December 2nd. You could be listening to this far in the future. And, hello. How are you? Where do you listen to the podcast? Are you still on the planet Earth? And if so, can you please check on my wife to make sure that she's being well taken care of? Because I assume I'm not around anymore. I don't know where that went. It happens eventually if I keep talking and it's late and I'm tired, that I will go and just ramble on to the point where I'm like, oh, he finally hit his 20 minutes. He can go now. Yeah, I try to hit at least 20 minutes for these episodes, and now I've rambled on enough that I have. So, my friends, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you, but fear not, because guess what? There will be another episode tomorrow, and I'll be saying that every day for, 23 more days or something like that. So that's it. Day 2 in the books. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. You can find me on Twitter at Geek Mentality, on Instagram at Geek Mentality, on Mastodon.social at Geek Mentality, on some threads at Geek Mentality, on Facebook at Fans.Experts, on Twitter also at Mikey_C, and on Blue Sky at Mikey-C. I should just put all these in the show notes, or you just go click on the, go to fans.experts.com. You can click on and find all the links to my socials there. I did it. I'm done. What I'm excited about is the Friends episode premieres tomorrow. Or for me, it premieres in a couple hours. And, life's not going to be the same now that the show's back. So it's going to be hard to be able to record you every day while also dealing with all the fan mail and the interview requests. Again, I'm doing it again. I'm rambling. All right, I'm going to leave you now. You know how it goes. I already said all this stuff about social. Go to fans.experts.com. Find everything there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And until tomorrow, my friends, here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans, not experts.